2, 3. This time of day, everything's okay. I take a long look around, I have to say.
Hello, this is your friends and neighbors, and I am your host, Willie Jones. It's been a while. I am happy to be back here at Cat TV doing the show. Before we get going this morning, there are a couple of things that I would like to mention. At the Bennington Free Library, they have something called Wallworks Art at the Library, and right now Greg Winterhalter, who has become a friend of mine, he has an exhibit there. It's there from now through December, and they had a reception last Saturday. Very nice reception at the library. I'm very lucky to say I have a couple of his pieces now to hang on my wall at home. So if anyone has a chance to stop in at the Bennington Free Library. Also, this is not an ad for Dunkin' Donuts, but you notice I do have a Dunkin' Donuts cup here with some coffee in it. And we were just talking about how they're changing the title to just Dunkin'. And I can't help but think that that might be a term Brett Kavanaugh might have used in his high school days. Dunkin'. Wonder what that could mean in high school. I don't know. So anyways, this morning we are afternoon, night, whatever time you happen to be watching the show. Very pleased to have a guest that should have been here long before this. Came about 3 years ago, and we are going to talk to him this morning about his business and lots of different things. So my guest is Phil Lewis. Good morning, Phil Lewis. How are you?
I'm fine, Willie. Thank you. How are you?
Great. I am fine. Phil is the owner of the Bennington Bookshop, along with his wife, Linda. Instead of going through the whole straight, about 3 years ago, Phil and I had a discussion here. And so if you go back on YouTube, and I know some of you are probably hesitant, like I have been for years, technological stuff, I did not want to get involved, but of course I do use YouTube now. But just in case you want to go back and check on a little bit of the biography of Phil and his wife. Phil's originally from Australia. They met, got together. Now they ended up, when they found out there's going to be a bookshop for sale in Vermont, and by golly, they've been here for over 3 years now. Just
3.5 years.
Three and a half years. So we're going to talk books. We're also going to talk questions if we have time to get to those. And he brought a collection of books today, which I'm very anxious to see. I see one there that looks like it might be Anne Hunter.
Yes.
Is that Anne Hunter?
It is indeed Anne Hunter.
But
okay.
you could just tell by the,
Possum and the Summer Storm.
Oh.
Okay. So Anne does the story and the pictures for her
Oh,
books.
I know. She's
and this is
wonderful.
just a beautiful story about Possum and her children, and their house gets washed away in a flood. So all the neighborhood animals come together to help Possum build a new home. And it's just a lovely story of
her books are
sharing.
wonderful.
And it was selected by the museum for this year's Trail Tale.
Oh, great.
So as you walk the nature trail behind the
Oh.
museum, then you find pages of Anne's book
that's
on
great.
display.
Well, I love Possum's Harvest Moon. That book. It was so much fun to introduce the word soiree to my students. I just love that. And the kids would go around saying soiree. We're going to have a soiree. I love that.
Yep. And the other thing, I haven't told Anne this yet, so Anne, if you're watching, congratulations, but you're in our top 10 bestsellers for the year with this book.
Oh,
so
great.
Congratulations.
Oh, great. That's good. Yeah, she and Kim Wasik. They're very
Yes.
popular, and
Yeah.
they're both local, so
Yeah.
that's very nice. You probably weren't going to start with that. I'm sorry, but I just saw the
colours.
cover.
Well, it's the cover, isn't it?
Yeah,
the colours
well,
just
you
draw
could
you.
just tell it was
Look
Anne
at
Hunter.
it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, yes. So let's talk books. Unless
Okay.
you want to talk something else first.
No, I'm open
Yeah,
to
actually,
talk books.
let-
I
let
talk
me
books
ask you a
all day,
question
nearly
first.
every day.
What's the best thing about being owner of a bookshop?
Reading lots of books.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have time to read books.
Well, I have to find time to read books because I'm not sure how many books we have in the shop, but it's thousands.
Yeah,
And customers expect us to know all the books.
right.
Well, I can't possibly know them all. It's too many, but I do try and keep up with the bestsellers, and so I read those, and I write reviews for our newsletter and website, and just try and keep abreast of the new books coming in.
What makes a successful bookshop, do you think?
It's a community thing. The community here is hugely supportive of books.
It's wonderful.
Some of the programs that are happening, I know Molly Stark has a reading recognition program award. It's the Paddington Bear Award. And
okay.
each month a student gets
Right.
a bag of books from the bookshop, gets to hold Paddington Bear, carry Paddington Bear around all day, and gets a certificate.
Right.
And it's
Yeah,
just
I
for
read about that.
encouraging
Right.
reading. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Hey, we were talking before we started taping the show here. You said yesterday you had 300 new books come into the bookshop, and you had to get them all shelved.
It was a big.
That's a lot of books.
It was a big day. So there's lots of new titles at the bookshop now.
Yeah. So if you're interested in looking for some books, getting close to Christmas, you never know. Christmas gifts, gift certificates. That's my favorite thing from the bookshop.
And there's some beautiful books out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another question I was going to ask you about. I just read this term called shrooming. Have you heard about shrooming?
I haven't heard of it. Is it to do with mushrooming?
Nope, has nothing to do with mushrooms. People go into bookshops, take their little cameras, take pictures of the covers of books and the barcode, and they are using that as a showroom for Amazon.
Well, we do get people taking photographs of books. We ask them not to because there's copyright infringements
well, there's
involved
that too, but I had not heard of that term before.
Now, but we also have it the other way. People come into the bookshop with a printout from Amazon. They've searched for the book, and then they bring the printout into the bookshop and ask us to get it. We love it.
Yeah, I
more
know.
and more people are doing that. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Because a few years ago, I think everybody thought independent booksellers, boy, those bookshops are going to be a thing of the past. And it seems like they're coming back.
Yeah, the electronic readers were huge a few years ago and really impacting book sales, but books are making a comeback. It's great.
Yeah, it's nothing like
Well,
nothing like holding
you
a
can't
book.
sit with a child and read from an electronic reader and have the same involvement as you can with a picture book.
Right, right.
And
Another thing I was reading about. Well, no, let's not do that. We can get back to that later. Let's talk about books.
Okay.
There's other questions I could ask you, but we can wait. And you've
Shall
got
I
a
pull
lot
a-
of books here to talk about.
well, shall I pull another one out then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be a surprise. I don't know what's coming out of the box.
Okay. This is Heart Spring Mountain by Robin MacArthur.
I read it. I
And
got
did
it
you
at the
enjoy it?
Bennington Bookshop.
Yeah, because I probably thrust it in your hand.
I think
saying,
you were the
you
it's
need
either
to
you
read
or
this."
Linda, one or the
Yeah.
other.
So this is Linda and my favourite book this year.
It's a wonderful book.
So it's Robin's first novel. She's written a collection of stories before, but this is her first novel. It's just beautifully written, and we're thrilled. Yesterday we confirmed a date with Robin. She's coming to the Bennington Free Library on November the 15th, Thursday, November the 15th, for a reading, and we'll be there with books. So,
Oh, that's what. Now, that was another thing. Now, you got in touch with her.
yes.
Now, what if how many authors, or how could an author, a new author, how would they go about talking to you about setting up?
Usually they reach out by email. Sometimes
Okay.
people come in with a book and say, I've written this book and will you put it
Okay.
on the shelf? And we have on our website, we have an author page. And on
right.
that page is directions on how to approach
Right.
us so that we might take a book on consignment to try it out
Right.
and see how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. So as I
Yeah,
said,
that's
th-
it's
this
a
is
really good book.
just
It's a
beautiful.
Vermont. It's a Vermont. It's after the Hurricane
Irene.
Irene.
Yeah.
I keep all these hurricanes. Hard to keep track of all the names.
And
Yeah,
it's
it's-
about 3 generations of Vermont women living on a farm, and it's just so beautifully written.
Yeah,
So,
you say women. Yeah, women. I think women would really like that book.
okay, are you ready for another book?
I am ready for anything.
Okay, well, let's see what should we pull out next. Okay. This is from Murder Mystery People.
I got this at the Bennington Bookshop, and it's a wonderful book. This is
It's
she
set
is
in Australia.
Australian,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. So we have a murder mystery book club at the Bookshop called Whodunit, and we've been going for 2.5 years now, and this is our favourite book in that time.
Oh,
Everybody in the group gave it 10 out of 10. Normally, most of the books we're scoring 6 or 7, and somebody will give it a 3 or a 2, but this one everybody said number 1.
oh yeah, it gives you goosebumps.
It's just it's well written. The dry in parts of Australia there are 2 seasons: the dry season and the wet season. And the dry is really, really very dry.
Yeah.
She just conjures up that feeling of the dry, and then it's just a very, very solid murder mystery. So
Yeah. Oh, it's really good. Really, really good. Good book.
yeah.
I can't believe 2 books you pulled out and I read them.
Another book.
Yeah, you're sure?
Okay, well, I'm going
Let's
to pull
keep on
out one
doing
that I know you haven't read, but
No,
you
were just
should
telling me.
read.
You were telling me
You
about it.
should
I
read.
wrote this down. Yeah.
Yeah. On Night Shore by Randall Silvis. This is it's just a romp. It's just so unusual. It's based on a story by Edgar Allan Poe, which is based on a New York Times news story from 1840. Edgar Allan Poe is one of the main characters in the book. Mark Twain makes a cameo, as does Walt Whitman, and it's told from the perspective of a 10-year-old boy as Edgar Allan Poe investigates what happened on this particular day, and it's just a romp. It's a really, really fun read. Beautifully written, but just fun to be involved in, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be fun. Now, if somebody came in to you and said, I'm looking for a really good mystery or whatever, you would suggest this book.
I do suggest this book. When I mentioned the book club, and this is our second favourite book in that time. The Dry was the first. I explain that it's a bit different, because it is a bit different, but it's an unusual read, but it's a fun read. It's so absorbing.
How people come in and ask you, I'm sure, for suggestions all the time. It seems like you might be a little bit on not thin ice, but they want you to give them a suggestion of a book, and you don't know the person. Isn't it a little difficult to make that judgment of what might this person want to read?
We
unless
start
they're really
by
specific?
asking what they like, what sort of books they like, and then we can think of other books that might be a bit like that. But also we can ask them, what is it they're looking for? Are they looking for a light read for the plane, or are they looking for something deep and meaningful? And just fiddle around with that. And then I usually will pull out 4 or 5 books, and the customer will go and sit in the armchair at the front of the shop there and go through, you know. And we've recommended Heart Spring Mountain to. It's on our bestsellers list, and we've sold probably 40 this year.
Oh wow!
And everybody has come back and said how much they enjoyed it. So
Now I said, oh wow, you sold 40 books. I believe that if you're an independent bookseller, you're not in it to make bundles of money.
no,
You're not going to become a millionaire overnight being a bookseller.
no, it's
It's
yeah.
got to be the love for what you're doing and the books.
Being surrounded by books. You know, for us, we get a delivery of books nearly every day, so it's like holiday time. We're always unpacking presents.
Yeah.
Just beautiful
Now,
books.
you also have a lot of people, or not? I don't know. You don't have too many other people, employees. Do they have to? What kind of not a test, but what kind of questions do you ask them, or feel them out about how they feel about books? How do you get employ somebody to be in the bookshop?
We ask, what are you reading at the moment?
Oh, okay.
And some people will say, oh, I don't read books.
Oh.
And we think, well,
Well,
there's not really a position for you here.
Yeah.
So that's you've
Yeah.
got to be a reader.
Yeah.
So what sort of books do you like, and who's your favourite author, and why, and just feel people out
Now,
that way.
do they have to spend time going around the bookshop getting used to all the different genres and really, because people are going to ask them questions
That's
too.
right, yes.
You and Linda know the place pretty well now, but employees, they must have to go around and do a little
There's a lot of getting
inventory in their mind of what's
familiar
here.
with what's where in the bookshop, but we have backup. There's a computer.
Right.
You can put a name of a book into the computer and it'll tell you what section of the bookshop it's in. So that really helps.
It's like
It's not always
it's like
there
when
though, because people will pick books up to have a look at and then they put them down somewhere else, and we know we have a book in the bookshop, but it's not where it's supposed to be. But
I'm going to be very honest here. If I were to look at this book at the bookshop, and there were, say, 3 copies of it, and I go look at through it, I go and I put it in the back and take the fresh one. I know that's not nice. That's not right. But I always feel, okay, I want the nice, brand new, fresh one.
okay,
But-
well, I'll tell you a little
So
trade
they're probably
secret.
gonna be
So
watching now.
we rotate the books on the shelves so they all get
I might.
exposure.
You got a lot of books there to rotate.
Yes, yeah, no, but it's a regular, just so it's not always the same book that's getting
Right,
picked up.
right. This is one to look forward to.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
also-
a fun
did-
read.
You mentioned a book to me this morning, Hope Never Dies.
Yes.
Do you have that with
I
you?
don't have that with me, no.
Oh, God, tell people about that.
What?
That sounds hysterical.
I've only read the back cover,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's on the bestsellers in the paperback section.
I don't know it.
Obama and Biden, naturally, are unemployed now. They're out of a job, and so they become private detectives.
I
And
just love
the
that.
front cover of the book is a red convertible with Biden driving and Obama standing up as they're driving along, and
That sounds like fun.
it sounds very funny.
Yeah.
It's just,
I
yeah.
like romps.
Yeah, no,
Romps
it's
are
good fun.
Romps are fun. Okay, what else do you got there in that box?
Okay.
Pretty soon he's going to pull out books that I don't know about.
Well, I'm going to pull this one out because one of the questions we ask people who are hoping to work in the bookshop is, what are you reading now? So this is what I'm reading now. I'm 2 chapters in, so I can't tell you very much about it. It's The Winter Soldier by Daniel Mason. And he's the author of The Piano Tuner, which came out 6 or 7 years ago, I think.
I heard of that. Yeah.
And I read it and really loved it, but I don't remember much about it. I just remember really enjoying the book. So I've pulled this one off the shelf to read. It's the first 2 chapters concern a medical student named Lucius, and it's set in Hungary just before the start of the First World War. And the war is just starting in chapter 2. And I don't know where it's going, but it's already beautifully written, so beautifully written. It's taken me right to that place and that time. It's
Yeah.
just so well done. So I'm looking forward to it.
Now, because you have so many books and you're trying to read so many books, do you start a book and say, no, I don't have time for this?
I do.
I don't think it's going to,
I do. Yes.
because I can't start a book and not finish it. I
Well,
just can't do it.
I can give you a way out of that dilemma, Willie. A
Yeah.
friend of ours a few years ago came up with a formula, and his name is Vaughan, so we call it Vaughan's formula.
Okay.
And what you do is you take your age away from 100. So in my case, I'm 60, so I take 60 from 100, leaves 40. So I read 40 pages of a book. If it hasn't grabbed me by then, I don't have time to carry on. I go on to the
Well,
next
I'd
book.
have to read 27 pages, and sometimes a book starts at maybe page 4, so that puts me down to 23 pages. I don't know. I can't. Now, the book that I'm reading right now, which is called Spoonbenders, at first I started, I thought, oh, boy, I don't know if I'm going to like this book. But I kept on reading it, and I'm loving it. So, you
Good.
just
Yeah,
never
sometimes
know.
you have to persevere, but
My
sometimes
wife would have nothing. If she didn't like it, she'd go to the end, read the end of the book, and she'd put it away. That would be it.
Yep.
No, I'm done with this book.
Well, there's so many good books out there. It's a shame to get bogged down with one
I
you're not
know.
enjoying.
I know. Another book I read recently too, The Great Believers, Rebecca Mackay. God, what a book about AIDS, early AIDS crisis in Chicago. It starts there, and think it ends up in 1995 or so. Really good book. Really good book. So many good books.
Okay, well, and here's one, a little unusual.
Okay.
This came out yesterday. It's by Nancy Koziol, and it's The Joy of Brewing Cider, Mead and Herbal Wine. And Nancy is a Bennington resident.
Yeah, I don't know Nancy.
And we are, with Harvest Brewing on South Street, we're holding an event with Nancy on the 26th of October, Friday the 26th at 7 p.m. This is a great little book if you want to get into brewing, cider, mead, making wine, whatever. It's just a really good little read. It's simple. It has step-by-step instructions on how to go through the process of brewing, and it also has one thing I really liked about it is it has what can go wrong and describe things so that if you see something happening you're not sure about,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's identified in the book and this is what's happened, and so it gives you some corrective
Yeah, right. I don't know
things
about
to do.
cider, but it seems like there's a beer brewing whatever on every corner here in Bennington
Yes,
lately.
yeah.
I don't know about the cider. Maybe this will be something new.
New, yeah.
Bring into town.
No, well, it's a great little book. So, yeah,
I
lots of
wish I was a beer drinker, but I.
yeah.
Cause
So that just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep. And
That was one of the 300.
there you go. There you go. Yes. Well, we have 24 of those in the shop. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we sold our first one last night. I mentioned the sub bookshop in North Bennington. Somebody ordered one through me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Remind people, we didn't say, your shop is on Main Street.
Yep.
And telephone number and
Yep. We're
website and all that.
467 Main Street, and our phone number is 802-442-5059, and our website is benningtonbookshop.com.
Okay.
And we have a Facebook page too, which is the Bennington Bookshop, and that's where we post a lot of our events and things. So if you're wondering what the bookshop's going to be doing, have a look there. We have events posted. We also have an events page on the website. And, you know, we're open most days 10 till 6, Sundays noon till 4, but you can shop for books 24/7 at our website. We have an online ordering system, and quite a few people
So
use
if
it.
you're 3 o'clock in the morning, you want to order a book, you can do it.
Yeah. Well, we have a regular customer from Williamstown. What she does is she orders books online a week or 2 weeks before she needs them, and then she comes up and picks them all up. You know, we don't mail them to her. She comes and picks them up, and
Right.
yeah.
I know. It's awful. I have to go. Oh, I was just thinking, when I go through the bookshop, I see all these books. I think, oh, I'd like that one. I'd like that one. I can't get the. Is it true that most bookshops will put children's books at the back of the bookshop so that the adults might walk through and see something they're interested in? I read that someplace. I don't,
Yeah, I'm not
Makes
aware.
sense to me.
You know, you mentioned that, and our children's section is at the back of the bookshop, but it's partly because that's where our counter is,
Right.
so we can keep a more careful eye on.
right.
Okay, but you know, that sounds like a tactic that would work.
Do you have a lot of trouble with people stealing books?
Occasionally, but it's people are very good.
I read someplace that the most popular book that gets stolen is the Bible
Okay,
and manga, or those Japanese
Yes,
comic books, and books by Kurt Vonnegut.
okay.
Those are the three that
Three.
get stolen the
Well,
most.
we sell a lot of all of those, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Kurt Vonnegut, I mean, God, he's been around for years. He's
Yeah.
still, maybe that's because high school, college. There's probably a lot of his books, I guess, are on reading lists too.
Yes. So he
that
comes
might
up
be
again.
why students go in and they, okay.
Yeah, but no, theft is very minimal, thank goodness, and thank you to the community for being
Right.
supportive.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of the community, you have gotten involved because you are bringing things, authors, to the community. Are either one of you involved with Rotary or Lion or anything like that?
Not at this point, no.
No, I'm not a joiner like that either. I'm not. Just not something I don't get into that.
Yeah. Linda is on one of the downtown boards,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not. If I say the name, I'm sure I'm going to get it mixed up. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Okay.
Okay, you ready for another book?
Yeah, I'm
okay,
ready.
where should we
I'm
go
always ready
next?
for another
Okay,
book.
well, I have to show you this one because this is our #1 bestseller this year.
Oh, Joe Hall.
And it's by local historian
Of
Joe
course,
Hall,
of course.
Bygone Bennington. It's a collection of his radio
Mm-hmm,
shows from when he was on WBTN. And yeah, it's outselling by more than twice our next bestseller. So congratulations, Joe, on that
Yes,
one.
to Joe.
So,
It's too bad when you open up you don't hear his voice. But
well, we can try. No, it's not there. Are you there, Joe? No, but yeah, lots of pictures and yeah, it's
yeah,
just
oh,
a
he's a great historian.
nice
He's kept
historical
track
read.
of a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, so a lot of people get that as a gift. And,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that would be a great gift
Yeah.
for somebody who lives here in Bennington or used to live here and moved away or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we've sold so many. Joe is in the bookshop nearly every week with a new supply. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so glad. In fact, I'm glad it's in black and white because all his photos. I don't know. I like black and white. I
Yeah.
think black and white photos. T.W. Collins, who's been in down in Washington, filming all of this stuff that's going on down there, on Facebook yesterday, he had this series of photos, black and white photos, of men and women, just close-ups of their face, with "Believe Women" taped over their mouth, or "Believe Us" or whatever. It was so powerful. All of these, and they're in black and white,
Right,
which
yeah.
I think makes it more. That's why I like a lot of the old movies too. They're just sharper. I don't know, there's something about them. But
Yeah.
these photos, his photos, are wonderful. But yeah, this I'm sure people are buying
Yeah,
that. Like
no.
that'll be a great Christmas gift, folks.
Well, we have them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joel keeps supplying them. You keep buying them.
So, what are the book clubs? We have. I've mentioned the Mystery Book Club a couple of times, and we have. There's a number of well-established book clubs in Bennington.
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes is
That
one,
group.
yeah. And then there's the Men's Adventure Book Club, and
Okay.
then the Ladies of the Book Club. So the Men's Adventure are reading Hillbilly Elegy at the moment. They're just finishing this one, which is, are you familiar with this book? No?
Mm-hmm.
It's a memoir of family and culture in crisis, and it's about
I like
the
memoirs.
Appalachian families, and yeah, just yeah. So
No,
it's been
no, I
on the
haven't heard of it.
bestsellers for a year and a half. So
I haven't even heard of it.
yep. So
Sounds
that's
like Hillbilly
one,
Elegy.
and then the Ladies of the Book.
It kind of rolls off the tongue. Hillbilly Elegy.
Elegy.
I like that. Oh yeah,
Living on
Ian,
Chesil
yes.
Beach,
I
yes.
wrote it. I read Atonement and read something else of his.
Yep. And I read this one several years ago, so I don't remember what it's about. But one of the book clubs is reading this.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Mm-hmm.
I read it a couple of years ago, and I don't remember anything about it.
Well,
But did you
just
enjoyed it while you
I
read it?
did, and I really
See,
enjoy his writing.
That scares me sometimes because I'll say to somebody, oh, "I love this book. What's it about?" Well, I read it like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't really remember.
you just
but
remember
I know
loving.
I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember enjoying this book, and Chesil Beach is in the south of England. It's a pebble beach. The pebbles are about this size, and when the waves roll in onto the pebbles, it makes this marvelous sound.
Oh,
Because
wow.
the pebbles all roll over each other, and it's just yeah.
You've been there.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So it's a
I would say you must have been. Yeah.
very nice spot.
Well, that's
Chesil
yeah.
Beach. Yeah.
Chesil Beach. Oh, I didn't realize that's where the title came from. I knew.
Well,
I
I'm
heard
not
the
sure that
title.
it does, but it's
Yeah,
Chesil Beach is in the south of England.
that's great.
Okay.
Yep. Keep 'em coming.
Okay, so another local author this time. And I just think it's wonderful how
Oh, right.
the
Chris
community
Oldham.
supports local authors. So this is Chris Oldham,
Mm-hmm.
A Father's Letter to His Son.
Right.
And basically it's a book that's sort of about hope and giving sort of advice to, at this time, an unborn son, but the son has since been born.
Yes, he has been.
Yep.
And Chris and Amanda love that little critter. I'll tell you, they love him.
Well, Chris says he's working on his next book,
Oh,
which
really?
is going to be A Father's Letter to His Daughter.
Oh.
So I asked him
thinking
whether
ahead,
the
huh?
daughter was on the way, and he wouldn't answer that question, so I don't know. Okay,
Yeah,
but this is
give Amanda a little break.
yeah, no, this is a lovely little book. So
Yeah.
yeah, congratulations to Chris
Yeah.
and Lenny Kay, who's a local illustrator.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
Lenny.
Yeah,
Okay,
Lenny's.
but I
Yep.
certainly know Chris. Yeah.
Yep. So there's that one.
There's a lot of authors locally. I mean,
Yes.
we're
Yeah,
really
no,
we're really fortunate,
yeah,
lucky in
we
this
are.
area.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's southern Vermont, not so much action up in northern Vermont and central Vermont, but we got stuff down here in southern Vermont just as good.
Yeah. Well, we had an event just at the beginning of August with Eric Rickstad. He lives
I
in
read.
Arlington, so southern Vermont, but
Right.
his books are set in the Northeast Kingdom, and he's a New York Times best-selling author. Mysteries, they're very solid.
I don't
He's
think I've read anything.
Been to our book club to talk about books, and yeah.
I don't think I've. Do you belong to any of these book clubs?
I belong to the mystery book club.
Just the
yeah.
mystery. Okay.
Yeah.
I
The
know
other
I
book
know you
clubs
said
we have
that,
on
but I
our
didn't-
website, they've been in existence for many years, so they're not taking new members. But if anybody out there is interested in starting a book club, we're happy to promote it on our website and through our newsletter and try and get people joining together to form a club. And Linda, I know, is hoping to start in the next month or so a book club that reads memoirs and biographies and stuff like that. So
There's a woman author that I just adore, and I think probably a lot of men have never touched her books, but Adriana Trajani.
yeah,
Her
she's
books
very
are
popular.
just so good.
Yeah.
And I just think I wish more men would read her books because they really they'll hold your interest. They're wonderful stories, wonderful characters, and there was also a cookbook. Not cookbook. She was a food critic that was writing books for books of Sapphires and Garlic, Tender to the Bone, Comfort Me with Apples. I can't think of her name now. I haven't heard of her in ages, and I wonder if she stopped writing or
Yeah,
what's going
I'm
on.
not familiar
I wish
with
I could.
those
I shouldn't have
titles.
brought it up because I can't remember her name now.
Yeah.
Oh well.
No. Okay, so
Yep. Oh,
another Southern Vermont author.
right. He's coming soon.
No, he was here on
Oh,
Monday.
that's right, he
Yeah.
was
We
just
had an
here.
event with Archer on Monday, very amusing as always, and this is his latest book, came out just a week ago. We have some signed copies at the bookshop if you're looking for one for a gift. But
Very popular.
very popular, very solid crime writer. Just yeah.
No, I have a friend he loves Archer
Yeah.
Mayer.
Yep. So we have people who come in through the summer asking about his latest book, and they place orders with us, and then we ship them. I've just mailed one today to Tennessee, because they wait to get the signature, get Arch to sign it with a little dedication, and then we ship it off to them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So
I know that you said a lot of people, you ship books to people. There was I think I probably mentioned this 3 years ago, but there used to be a stage manager that worked at Oldcastle, and she lives in New York City, where there's tons of bookshops, and she could buy any book she wanted down in New York. She always ordered her books through the Bennington Bookshop.
That's
Mary
lovely.
Dermody would remember her name. I should remember it, but can't think of it.
now we get a lot of support like that. It's
That's
really nice.
wonderful.
We have people. There was someone who is a regular customer at the bookshop, and when she travels, she goes to other bookshops and finds books that she wants. So she rings us to order them
Right.
rather than buying them there. So it's very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
appreciated.
I mean, I have to admit, if I'm someplace visiting and go to a Barnes & Noble, I'll probably do a little shopping at Barnes & Noble, or I do a little on Amazon, but I do try to support the Bennington Bookshop as much as I
And
can.
we know, we see you there regularly.
I try
Yeah.
to. I try to.
Well, and one of the other things we're doing at the moment, we have these book packages, we call them, and it's like a subscription. We send out a book a month for however many months you want to sign up for, and people give us information about the person we're sending the book for, so a lot of children. At the moment I've got 8 children in California that I send books to once a month, so yeah, it's just nice.
Huh. I got a wonderful. I got 4 books last year at the library as a Christmas gift for a little girl. She's what now? She's 2 years old now, but I got them for the future. But they're wonderful wonderful biographies. I got to check with her mother the name of the company and which ones I got. I know I got one with Gandhi. I don't know. I can't remember. They're wonderful series, and I've got to come in and for this Christmas get 4 more to go with them because I know there's quite a few.
Yeah, we've probably
series.
got about 20. I think the series you're talking about is the Who Was
I think
Gandhi
so.
and Who
Yes,
Was and
yes, yes.
Who Is Judy
Right,
Bloom.
with nice
and-
little illustrations. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a
Yeah,
there's
no.
a wonderful series.
no, they're very
And the mother
popular.
was very happy that she
Yeah.
said, "Oh, these would be wonderful." And actually, she had the 4 books there. The first book she picked up was Gandhi, and she was so interested in looking at the pictures in that Gandhi book. So, immediately she had an interest in the book. She didn't know who Gandhi was,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
who cares? She was looking at the book. She's wonderful. This little one, if you see her in the chair, she ponders what she's reading in magazines. She's so cute. So cute.
All right, another children's book.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, I think, one of my favourite children's books. Have you seen that one? It's Mother Bruce.
No, I don't know. Well, I've
Mother
seen
Bruce.
it, but I don't know
Okay.
Mother Bruce.
This one came out a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and there's a couple more books in the series now. And this is Bruce, and Bruce
Yeah.
is a grumpy old bear. And he's out foraging in the woods one day, and he collects some eggs from a nest, and he takes them home, and he's just about to start to fry up the eggs for breakfast when they hatch, and the
Aw.
goslings hatch out and become fixated on Bruce as
Of course.
the mother.
The mother.
And it's just this grumpy bear dealing with that situation. It's just
And what award is this?
that's the. I'll have to turn it around to have a look because Ezra Jack Keats honor book.
Oh, Ezra Jack. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
great children's
Yeah.
author. Yeah.
No, and it's just what I like about this is the humour works at so many levels that as an adult reading it, I'm laughing, but there are things that make children laugh. It's just an all-round
That's like all of
fun book.
these. Yeah, like these movies that come out now. They're for kids, but I think adults are getting as much fun out of them
Yeah.
as the kids are.
Yeah.
Like Coco, and I know there's a whole bunch of movies that have come out that I think adults are enjoying as much, if not more, than the kids do. A lot of times it goes right over their heads.
Yeah, so this is the first one, as I say, and then the next one is called Hotel Bruce, and he takes all the goslings on a road trip, and it's a disaster. But yeah, very funny. Just fun.
Sorry, Ryan, didn't mean to cough into my microphone. Wasn't thinking.
Okay, what else have we got in there?
I don't know.
Okay, I've got some of the bestsellers, some of the books that are on the bestsellers list at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. Have you read that one?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
really good.
It is. It's.
Reese Witherspoon bought it up to make into a film.
Oh, really? Okay. No, it's a really good read. Little
is
fires
good.
everywhere. The book starts with a family called the Richardsons. Their house is just burnt to the ground, and one of their youngest child is missing, and everybody in the family is convinced that she set the fire.
Right.
That's where the book starts, and that's where it ends. But it's a
Of course, when I picked it up, little fires everywhere. I expected, oh my God, there's going to be an arsonist, there's going to be fires all over the town. I was surprised. It wasn't quite that.
It wasn't quite like that, but there were other little fires that come up. There's all
Within the family.
within the family, yes, and within
Right.
the town,
Right.
and it's just
Right.
a very well written book, and it's an easy read, but it leaves you thinking about
Yeah.
things. It's
And
a very thoughtful
I didn't
book.
know how to pronounce her name. Do you know?
Ing.
Just
Mm-hmm.
Ing. Okay.
I had to look it up.
Oh, things like
'Cause I
that
knew
drive
I'd
me
be talking
crazy.
about it. Yeah.
I mean,
No.
reading a book and I don't understand or can't pronounce like some of these. Who's the guy, the kite runner? Books like that where they have these names. Like, oh my God.
You get used to them, I think. But yeah, that when I talked about the Winter Soldier earlier, I mentioned the character's first name, Lucius, because I haven't worked out how to pronounce his last name yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm still working on that. But so I understand
I
what
like
you're saying.
that. Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, a really,
Yeah,
really
that's
good
really good.
read.
That's been around a
very
while,
thoughtful
yeah.
read. And
Is that out in trade yet?
No,
No,
because
it should be pretty soon.
Well,
Oh,
it's
but it's
still on the
still selling.
bestsellers. So publishers just hold
Right.
it until it
Right.
goes off that
They're
bestseller
not-
list.
yeah, they're no dummies.
No, no.
Now,
Okay. There by Tommy Orange. And that's probably why the book's orange with yellow. But
yeah, right.
this is a very powerful book. The writing, I think, is superb. It's his writing style. It's just hard and relentless in a way, but there's some beautiful passages in here. It's the story of urban Native Americans in Oakland, and there are 12 main characters, and they all come together towards the end of the book when there's an incident. But the there is refers to I can't remember the actress now, but she lived in Oakland, and she was saying that when she goes back to Oakland, there's no there anymore because it's changed so much.
Wow.
And it was sort of, it's using this as a parallel for the situation of Native Americans, where they've lost a lot of their ways of being and what have you. There's no there anymore. And yeah, it's just a very, very good book. And
Yeah, I'm sure it's very touching.
yeah, but it's hard though. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can handle hard books.
Yep. Well, there you go. And it's a hardcover.
I can sit there and make sure I got Kleenex at hand.
Yep. Okay, I've only got a couple left.
Okay.
This one, Cersei.
Oh, yeah, that's been on. Yeah, that's
That's
on
been
bestseller,
on the
right.
bestsellers list for probably 8
Yeah,
months
You
now.
had that out up front.
Yep. No, it's still there. Cersei is the daughter of one of the Greek gods, and in some political deal her father does with another god that they've had a disagreement with, she gets banished to an island in the Mediterranean, and she lives there alone and practices witchcraft. And partway through the story, Odysseus comes by on his way back from Troy,
Okay.
and spends a year on the island, and they have a child, but Odysseus leaves before knowing about the child. And the child grows up and goes in search of Odysseus, but
Well, that's actually is a myth, right? I mean,
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
mythology, the story.
So,
Yeah.
so
As you're telling
all
the story,
the Greek
I think,
myths
this is very
come into this story,
okay. Great
um,
cover.
and but it's told from the perspective of Cersei. So yeah, it's a really interesting read. I
I'm
enjoyed
sure
it
it
a lot.
is. And great cover.
Yeah, no, it is a great cover, isn't it?
Yeah, I love covers. I love covers.
And you know, an unusual name, but when I first put this on the shelf way back in March, the very next customer who came in, their last name was Cersei because they signed a credit card slip. And I just thought,
Oh my
I've never
God.
heard that name before, and there it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so there we go. So that's a good read. And then this one, Michael Ondaatje. Remember him, the
him.
English patient?
Yes, the movie.
Yes. And the book.
Yeah,
You struggled with the book and the movie?
I had the movie.
Yes.
I did not care for the movie.
Okay,
I
well-
was so sick of the dust and the sand, everything. I thought the little side story with the nurse and the other, I know, the soldiers. I thought that
sapper,
was
yeah.
a much more interesting story than the main characters. Myself,
Yep. So
I forgot the author's name. Right.
Warlight refers to the lighting they used in London during the Second World War on street corners. They didn't have street lights because they didn't want
Right.
to provide a target for the bombers.
Right.
So Warlight was dim light on street corners just so that emergency vehicles could find their way around. So it's got that sort of murkiness in the picture. There you go. It's a London fog. It's very murky. It's a really interesting read. And it's number 1 on the bestsellers at the moment, which is a reflection.
That sounds like something that they might turn into a movie.
Could do, yeah. And as I say, it's really interesting. There's some very unusual characters in there. And yeah,
Good.
good.
Okay. That's all that's coming out of your box?
I have 2 other ones.
Oh, okay.
And then I think that's all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
And they're both by the same author. And I brought them because they're on our bestsellers for the year.
Okay.
Okay, it's Robert Frost in Bennington County and A Guide to the Battle of Bennington. and the Bennington Monument. They're both by Phil Holland, and I brought them along. Phil just redid this one this year. He brought it out originally 3 or 4 years ago, I believe. He's just redone it, so it's got all the updated information about the Robert Frost Museum and Bennington College's management of that museum and stuff like that. And yeah, just great guides. We get so many people who come into the bookshop and don't realise that Robert Frost is buried at the top of the hill.
Right, and then they zip right up the hill.
There you go, straight there, yes. So that's part of the tour. And
yeah, sometimes you go by there and the buses of people going through the cemetery.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure, yeah.
These are consistently on our bestsellers list each year.
Yeah,
so yeah,
great.
they're there again.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, let's see. I know we've still got a little time here. I did write down some other stuff in case we wanted to get into. I asked you about that. Oh, what about if a person returns a book to you? I think I mentioned before how when Rick and Ellen were at the bookshop, people once in a while people come in and say, "Can I trade in this gift certificate for money?" That was tacky. But what if somebody comes in and they have a book and they say, well, somebody else gave me a copy of this book. I decided I didn't want this, or I've decided I don't want to read it. Can I return it? And they've had it for a while, and you can tell it's been read. How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's always a difficult
maybe
one.
you haven't had that problem.
Most people are genuine. You know, they've opened their birthday presents and they've got 2 books.
That's
the
right.
same,
That's
you know?
yeah. Well, that's happened to me.
And they totally get that. You know, for us, it's best if they exchange the book, not ask for a refund. And just about everybody, that's what they do. I said they just leave that book on the counter and they go and find another book and come back and we do the exchange.
If I end up with 2 of the same book, I'll just say to somebody, "Oh, thank you. Oh no, I don't have this," and I pass the other book on to somebody else. I don't try to return it or anything.
And then the other thing we do, if a book comes back and it looks like it's being read, well, we just say we're not a used bookstore. We only sell new books. We cannot sell used books because there's a used bookstore just down the road.
Right.
So, and people get that too.
Right.
And a lot of people will ask as they buy a book, if I get home and find that my husband's already read this one, can I bring it back? And we say, yes, but we are a new bookstore, not a used bookstore, so it has to come back in that mint condition.
Right.
And then we're happy to exchange it.
Let's see, what else did I have here? Oh, I would have I read where the internet has actually turned out to be good for the booksellers. And because first on the internet, I thought, oh God, this is going to be terrible. But they say that it's very good for you because you can look up books so fast now. It's really been sort of a plus.
Yep, and there are lots of sites. One, for example, is Goodreads. And if you go to Goodreads and you like a particular author, that site will point you towards other authors who have a similar style or write about similar themes. So it's a way of finding extra books. And then you plug that book into our website and you can order it online from the bookshop.
Amazing. Just amazing. Oh, this is another thing I was reading about too, that books have a particular smell. They said that Penguin books smell like vanilla. And some books smell like almonds or coffee.
I've noticed a coffee smell with some books.
Yeah.
I haven't attached it to a particular publisher at this late.
Books do have a smell,
But
yeah.
I don't think I've got a Penguin book here because, Little Brown, is that Penguin? No, but I'm going to see if it smells anyway.
Okay. Oh, I think books do smell.
It's got almost a citrusy smell, this book.
That's citrus.
Yeah, do you want to try it?
Sure, what the heck? Oh, you're right. That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Just, I had never thought about it. I know that, books have a smell, but I've never thought a particular scent or anything like that.
Well, that's unusual, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Now, the bookshop also has other things for sale besides books. You got stationery. Now you must have calendars in for
lots
2019.
of calendars in, yes.
Stationery, note cards.
Yeah, and
some children's stuff.
Some children's
stuff. Of course, all
stuff,
the children's books in the section.
Yeah, and some crafts and some some toys and some gadgets. One of the things we sell a lot of are book lights.
Oh, yeah.
And they're tiny little lights. You can get them in the battery form or a rechargeable form, and they just clip on your book and you fold it over, and it's just the perfect amount of light to read from your book. And a lot of musicians are buying them to clip to their microphones so that they can shine the light on the music that they're playing.
Oh, right.
So,
I didn't.
They're just really
think about
convenient.
that.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Because you must sell a lot of cookbooks.
We do sell a lot of cookbooks, but that's not a genre that I'm particularly
Right. Oh, no, I'm not asking, but I'm just saying
yeah.
you must sell quite a few of those.
Yes, yeah, and we get special orders for cookbooks too, because people have a particular book that they had 30 years ago, and can they still get a replacement because the one they've had has just fallen apart.
Now, how often do the book distributors come to you?
There's 3 big seasons, spring, summer and fall. And so Linda is our buyer.
Okay.
And she will have telephone appointments with sales reps from publishers those 3 times a year. And then sometimes fill-ins in between. There'll be, something's come up and what have you. So some of the publishers, Linda just deals with them over the phone, but some of them actually come to the bookshop, and they come those 3 times a year to discuss what books. So right now, Linda is planning what books to get in for spring.
Right.
It's a big lead-in.
Now, are they, quite often, I'm sure they're probably pushing a book, they say, this is going to be a really big seller. And then you get it and...
Sometimes,
so,
yeah.
I mean, you've got to be careful listing, what you're going to...
But most of the publishers or the sales reps that Linda works with know the bookshop. They know what kind of books sell
that
they've published in the past.
That makes sense.
So, they've got records. So they know. So they will sometimes pull out a book that Linda might not have thought of and say, this one might go well, just based on what's sold here in the past.
Do you have anybody that comes in that deals just with Australian books?
That's me.
Just you?
No,
oh, okay.
no, not just Australian, because all the major publishers are in Australia as well as here, so it's the same publisher. Yeah.
When you were a kid, was there a bookshop that you used to go to that was just like going to heaven?
It was tiny, and it's still there in town where my father lives. It's still going. It's tiny. I don't know how they make a living, but I spent all my pocket money there growing up. And they would order books for me and put them on a shelf in the back of the bookshop until I'd saved up enough money to buy them. And
God, that's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Do you remember the title of this place?
It's just the Wootton Bookshop.
The Wooden Bookshop?
Wootton.
Oh, Wootton.
Because the town we lived in was called Wootton under Edge.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
and as I say, it's still there.
And what about the library? Did you go to the library a lot too?
All the time, yes. Yeah.
Now, when you were in school, one of the things that bothered me, at one point we had a teacher at our school that was doing the Red Pony with her kids, John Steinbeck. And at that time, I think she was teaching 6th grade. And evidently, high school teachers had that on their reading list at that time. And they got really upset that she was using that book in, maybe it was even 4th grade, I don't know, whatever grade it was. But to me, the kids are going to have a whole different attitude between 4th or 5th, 6th grade and when they're in high school of how they're going to approach that book and what they're going to get out of it. So I don't understand why some of the teachers were upset about that. But hey, the kids are reading. And I know James Patterson is one of these authors who's trying to make it possible for boys to really get into books, and which I really have to praise him for that, because I think, and I do think a lot of boys, I don't know, as far as I know, a lot of I don't know. It's sad when you think that you're selling books, and yet we know that there are a lot of kids that are just not reading. And that saddens me. I just...
Yeah, I think we live in a reading community, though.
Yeah,
There
you're
are
very
lots-
lucky.
Yeah, there are lots. We have boys and girls come in and spend hours going through books, and it's just great to see.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I was just remembering last Saturday, 2 young girls came in. I'm not sure how old they were, but they were walking around the bookshop for about an hour, pulling out books and saying, "Have you read this one?" And "Oh, this is so good," and just talking about books. It was lovely to see.
Yeah, and you probably think, "Oh God, I'd like to buy that book for them." Let them so
Yeah,
they can go
that's
on.
one way of going broke, and that's one thing I should mention too. This is the 90th anniversary of the Bennington Bookshop. It opened 90th.
Oh, wow.
It opened in 1928, and some wit suggested as a sort of celebration we could offer 90% off the books for the year. Well, that's one way to close the bookshop very quickly, so we can't do that.
I was going to say.
We are the oldest independent bookshop in Vermont, and
That's
90
good.
years this year. So
90 years. Oh. And you don't look a day over.
some days I feel it though.
So you haven't. It's been relatively easy for you and Linda to settle into this community and
We enjoy this community very much.
and getting to know people, and you probably have regular customers that come in, and not only maybe they just come in because they want to chat.
Well, we have regular customers that don't live in Vermont that come here for their summer holidays each year, and before coming they'll phone the bookshop and order a bunch of
So we
books
have-
so they can drive past the bookshop, come in, get their box of books, and
then
go
they
off
got
to
their
camp.
books for the, they're going to Maine or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
When I would go traveling, I always take too many books with me. People say, "Why are you bringing all these books?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I need to decide. I might not want to read this one book. Maybe I want to read one of these other ones."
I'm the same.
Well, I think we've got to come to a close here very soon. So I need to thank Phil Lewis and
Thank you.
Linda for being members of our community and taking care of the Bennington Bookshop. And once again, give people the information about where you're located.
Okay,
and all
we're
that
on
stuff.
Main Street, 467 Main Street. Telephone is 802-442-5059. And then our website is benningtonbookshop.com. And if you like our page on Facebook, then you'll get all the updates. We also have a monthly newsletter we send out via email, so if you'd like to sign up for that, just let us know. And that has book reviews, information about events, and
I've
stuff
just
like
really
that.
started using email, so I need to get on that. Need to do that. Well, I want to thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
And I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in today, for your friends and neighbors. It's been a while. It's good to be back. It was really fun talking to Phil about books. Always want to talk about books. I'm so glad he said, if I read it a couple years ago, I don't remember. Well, boy, that made me feel good. But I know I enjoyed it when I read it. So thank you very much for joining us. And Phil, you and Linda have a lovely holiday sale time.
Thank you very much.
I'm hoping for the best there.
Thank you.
Okay, so bye-bye, everyone, and take care, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
This time of day, everything's okay. I take a long look around, I have to say, this time of year, it becomes